Hello, my name is Juan Carlos Verástegui. I am an energy healer with Quantum Shift and a master energy healing practitioner with Healing Solutions. And this is the long-awaited Teleclinic for healing your chronic conditions, achieving an endgame. We're going to talk about how to get into an endgame and not just stay managing our chronic conditions. How do we say, I'm done with this? This is over, okay? So I'm going to start sharing some slides with you. And basically, this is the first slide, healing your chronic condition, reaching the end game. I'm going to start moving. Who am I? I'm Juan Carlos Verástegui. I'm originally from Peru. Now I consider myself from Mother Earth. I moved to the US for graduate school and stayed here for work. I came to study business, an MBA, and I was doing marketing for the last 15 years. What else? I'm the father of Camila, my 7-year-old princess. She is my inspiration in all my healing journey and my journey as a healer too. She's there, they're making the bunny ears. She's my partner in crime, and again, my inspiration. Again, 15 years of corporate executive experience doing brand marketing for big name companies. And I turned into a healer after healing from ankylosing spondylitis, which I was diagnosed in 2005. I fully healed from it in 2019. I started my own practice with Quantum Shift. And later on, now I belong to a bigger practice, which is called Healing Solutions, which is founded by Beth Daniel, the co-founder of Quantum Techniques. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later also. I want to talk a little bit about my healing journey of ankylosing spondylitis and my search for the cure. I went to the best rheumatologist while I was living in New York City back in the time, and they put me on Celebrex, on NSAID and painkillers. It wasn't enough. I had to graduate to biological injections to bring down my immune system reaction, such as Humira. It brought down the pain. However, I felt groggy and I felt that this was not for my body. So I was doing a lot of research at nights because my doctor told me that they just didn't know why my immune system got crazy. And that poked something on me and told me, you know what? I know there's something going on with my body and I will find out what's going on. Why is it that my immune system, based on them, just got crazy? And I found holistic and integrative medicine. This was a blessing for me. I found a great holistic doctor, and we're going to talk about what I did with him a little bit. Then I went into homeopathy, low-dose immunotherapy, chiropractors, network chiropractors, functional chiropractors, acupuncturists. I did meditation, I did DNRS, I did a lot. I did a lot to heal. In terms of holistic and integrative medicine, the first thing that they found is that I was sensitive to foods. Part of my pain was food sensitivity, or I guess big part of my pain. I was on herbs, low-dose antibiotics, antifungals to help me detox and clear my pathways. I had a lot of herbs and die-offs because of what I was clearing from my body. But the antifungals is the one thing that really got me better. I was on antifungals for 3 years, and my pain considerably went down. However, I felt I was living in a bubble. I couldn't eat, I couldn't breathe a lot, and I had to be with the antifungals. So I decided to stop them after 3 years, and all symptoms came back. Everything stopped working. And it was devastating for me because then I said, well, then that means I'm not cured. That means there's something going on in my system. After all 3 years of cleansing, my gut, rebalancing my flora and everything, all the symptoms came back. There's something going on here. Okay. I also did homeopathy and low-dose allergen immunotherapy, which is meant to desensitize me for things that I'm sensitive to. And you can see here, you put very low, high dilutions, so a lot of dilutions of the antigens themselves. And this got me healed for about 2 years. All the symptoms went away. I was strong again. I was happy again. But after 2 years, I experienced some physical and emotional trauma, and this just stopped working. My body didn't want to absorb the low-dose immunotherapy anymore. This is just energy that is meant to cancel some energy that my body is like throwing off or producing, and the cancellation was not happening anymore. So I said, oh my God, this was very devastating news. My body was crashing down after this stopped working. I became even more sensitive to inhalants, to chemicals, to foods. I couldn't bend down. My joints were in pain. I was having migraines, a lot of anxiety and panic attacks, despair. It was horrible. So what did I do next? So I decided to do meditation. Meditation in the middle of this despair was one of the best things I did. It didn't take my pain away, but took away my visceral reaction to the pain. It gave me better levels of calmness and connection with intuition that helped me make better healing decisions. I was still in pain, but I wasn't getting angry and I wasn't getting attached to that pain. I was able to operate and see through the pain and see above and beyond the pain. This was amazing. So I truly recommend any of you guys who are experiencing painful, debilitating, chronic conditions with despair and loss of faith to start doing meditation. It's really, really strong. And then I did a dynamic neural retraining system. This was amazing. It improved my sensitivities to inhalants. It gave me a boost of extra energy to operate through the day. It really worked on the neuroplasticity levels and made me feel stronger. It didn't resolve all my symptoms, though, and sensitivities, but it gave me enough boost together with the meditation to get out of the hole that I was feeling I was in. During that time, it was the deepest hole I was in. I had to have my mom come from Peru to help me throw the garbage, to help me do the laundry, because I wasn't able to fully operate on my own. I couldn't even bend down. My joints were in pain. So these two things really saved my life. Not only that, but it gave me that boost, that hope and that vision boost about seeing what else is there. How can I get better? And thanks to these two things is when the miracle happened. So let me tell you what happened. I was able to start praying. I pray a lot to Mother Mary. I'm a Catholic person, so I grew up a lot with Mary and Jesus. And I pray to her. Things are not working, but now with the meditation and with the DNRS, I can see that there's something else for me. I'm willing, I'm open. Please help me, please show me what is out there. I'll try anything. At that point in time, I felt so sick that I thought I had Lyme. And because I thought I had Lyme, I booked a 10-day stay in Dr. Jernigan's clinic. When I was doing a lot of research, for me, he was the best because he did muscle testing, which is something that eliminates the guesswork. And I was trusting that. And because he worked on energy, he worked on delusions, on frequency match delusions, something very similar to the LDI that I was working with and that it helped. And that I knew it at some point in time worked on my body, right? So this was July, and I scheduled for December the 10-day, $10,000 stay in Jernigan's clinic. I thought that was the only thing that was going to help me. I was willing to try anything, to be very honest. I wasn't concerned about the money anymore. I said, like, this is my last attempt. I have to make it happen. Something inside tells me this will work. And at nights, I was leaving my some podcast, very old podcast. This was the year 2017, and I was listening to 2005 and 6 podcasts about different healing techniques. And they were running while I was falling asleep and while I was sleeping. And one of these days after, I prayed to Mary to please show me the way, that I'll be open. What is it for me that will take for me to heal? I wake up at 3 a.m. to go and pee. And when I went to go and pee, and I was returning from the bathroom, there was an interview in one of these podcasts, a radio interview to Beth and Steve Daniel, the creators of quantum techniques. And they were saying in the interview, We know why sometimes homeopathic remedies stop working, because sometimes you need the change in the dilution and in the dose, and we can calculate and eliminate the guesswork on that to make it work. And then I say, oh my God, these guys are going to be the ones who are going to help me. So even though I had a $10,000 clinic appointment for December, I decided to give these guys a shot. I went online and I booked an appointment with Dr. Tom Miller, who he himself healed from Lyme, because he had Lyme. And I thought I had Lyme back in the time. Later on, I found out that I had Lyme frequencies too. Okay. So Dr. Tom Miller, he got me into a trial session, a 1-hour session, and I told him, please help me get my homeopathic remedies back. My LDI, what's the dose? Why isn't it working? And he told me, Juan Carlos, your detox system is all shut down. You are just not detoxing at all. It's fully impaired. Right now, your body doesn't want those homeopathic remedies. Right now, we have to help your body detox first. And let's do that. And right after the first session, he started to help me, my body detox. And I felt the results immediately right there. It was amazing. And that's what hooked me up. And that's what hooked me up to understand what this technique was about. And this technique is based on the principle that what the body can see, the body can heal. That flashlight that you see in this slide is our healing intelligence. And it can shine the light through all our bodies. And it will see everything, whatever it can see in the body, it will heal it, because we have the chemistry to heal anything. All right? This is how I discovered quantum energy medicine. Our bodies have the power to self-heal from anything if they see what's going on. And I found the true root cause of what caused my autoimmune chronic pain and sensitivities. And you know what, guys? It wasn't the mold. It wasn't the EMF. It wasn't the foods. It wasn't the candida, right? I found what was it. But I'm not going to reveal it yet, because I want to go a couple of slides later to show what was it that truly caused my chronic pain and sensitivities. But with this technique, I was able to dive deep and figure out why. My original question to the medical doctors, why, when they say, we don't know, your body just went crazy. I found out why. Now, if we're saying that what the body can see, the body can heal, right? This is what we are saying, right? If the body can see, what the body can see, the body can heal, then why are 50 million of adults having chronic pain daily or almost daily? What's failing here? Isn't that contradictory? I just said, well, you know what, the body can heal us from anything, but well, here you have the statistics, 50 million are not healed. And please pay attention to this part of the Teleclinic, which is very important, because here's what the answer lies on. The body can see when our circuitry is fully reconnected. Our body is an electromagnetic circuit, an energetic circuit, and for all those flashlights to shine through all our bodies, we need a full reconnection. And you know who the breakers are? All our organs, glands, and tissues. They are part of that reconnection. And when everything is fully reconnected, the body will see anything that's going on and will heal anything that's going on. However, those breakers can be tripped. And here comes the big answers. What trips the breakers? Let me give you the straight answer. Is fear. There's two states of being in the world, and you can attach a lot of emotions around that. Either you're in a loving state, which heals everything, or you're in a fear state where you are negating yourself from the true love you have inside. And what trips the breakers is fear. Fear of what? Fear of physical stuff like toxins and pathogens, right? Fear of the EMF, fear of the Borrelia, fear of the mold. And guys, that fear is not even conscious. It's unconscious, and it's in the collective, it's in our DNA, and it's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. We're not even thinking about the fear. The fear is already embedded in the software. And because we fear this, then they become a toxin for us, and then they can trip the breakers. But what else trips the breakers? Emotions that the body cannot process, either ours or someone else's, but those emotions, if the body cannot process them, and because we fear these emotions, the only reason why we cannot process an emotion is because we fear the emotion, can also be a toxin for us and can also trip the breakers. And when the breakers are tripped, now the flashlight is not shining through all our bodies, and our bodies cannot see everything that needs to be healed and put in balance and homeostasis. So what was my cure? Now I'm gonna get and tell you what is it that I found was the root cause of everything and what was the cure gonna be. The empath connection. Through my healing process, I found out I was an empath, which was unbelievable for me. Why? Because if you ask my ex-wife or if you ask my parents, I had some sort of like all sorts of like nicknames. I was called Ego, was one of my nicknames, because I wasn't very compassionate or giving with people. And SS, which was in Spanish, sin sentimientos, which in English means no feelings. Those were my nicknames, guys. And then I said, well, how can I be an empath? That's crazy. If I'm all this cowboy that doesn't get moved with so many things. Well, we're gonna get to the answer there. What happens with empaths? We feel emotions at twice the intensity as any other person. So let's take as an example, our neighbor. When we were kids, we always have a neighbor, right? When we're kids. Let's talk about our neighbor kid, right? Let's put that as an example. If our neighbor kid is feeling anger because we just fought, I'm gonna feel anger too. I'm gonna feel anger with twice the intensity. If I feel sadness, we will feel the same sadness of the same event. I'm gonna feel twice the sadness intensity because we feel with more intensity. That's one of the definitions of an empath. We not only feel our emotions with double intensity, but we feel others' emotions as well. So under the same event, I'm feeling twice as much as my neighbor, and I'm feeling my neighbor's emotions too. So that's a double whammy, right? This has to be very overwhelming for a little kid when we're empaths and we're little kids, because we don't have the right guidance with today's upbringing processes and culture, right? The only way for us to not be that overwhelmed and survive and thrive is to suppress these dense emotions. Whenever we feel fear, despair, shame, guilt, anger, we just need to suppress it because it's too much. We feel it twice and we feel others too, okay? What is suppression? Suppression is I'm not gonna feel it here in my brain or in my heart. This is has to do a lot with the work of Joe Dispenza. If you read his books, he talks about it. This is too much for me. No brain, no heart. Somewhere else, go somewhere else. And these emotions go to different organs, glands, and tissues, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But also, who is an empath? Is a highly compassionate person. And we have a strong power of manifesting and creating a reality. We came here with a divine, beautiful mission of shining this ability to feel into the world, shining this compassion, this love into the world, because we have a lot of love inside us. What happened with me? I had to suppress a lot to survive, and I got myself conditioned to suppress. No wonder why I didn't feel anything. No wonder why they call me the no feelings guy or the ego guy, because all of the emotions that were going through my body were being stuck and suppressed somewhere else so that I could thrive and survive. And I conditioned myself and I programmed myself to do that through many, many years in my life. Now, what happens with suppression? We suppress because we judge those emotions, especially the dense ones. Whenever there's anger, there's fear, there's a sense of worthiness, a sense of love unreceived, confusion, crying, all those emotions. They are dense, we judge them. And that's what drives suppression. Why do we judge them? Because we have beliefs and patterns around feeling them. And again, these beliefs and patterns can come from our upbringing, but they go way beyond that. They can come from generations and generations of conditioning from our ancestors, right? We've been told, our ancestors have been told that they shouldn't feel anger, that they shouldn't feel sadness, that they shouldn't feel despair. So it gets programmed in the DNA through generations. And now we have the belief that dense emotions should not be felt. And we're empaths, we're gonna feel it twice, we're gonna feel some from other ones too, so we're just gonna suppress. That's the only way. If we cannot feel them, we cannot process them. And these emotions, they go and they get stored in our organs, glands, and tissues, and they stay there. They stay there until we are ready to feel them. They won't go anywhere else. Guys, these emotions, when we suppress them, they don't go anywhere else outside your bodies. Somewhere else, some organ will carry the weight. And it will depend on what type of emotions they are. In my case, a lot of my emotional overload was about fear of connecting with others. Guess what? They went to my connective tissue. That's why I got ankylosing spondylitis. Some other people are victims of abuse or like people invading their space, so they get under their skin. So these emotions go into their skin because they don't feel protected, right? People with anger issues, the emotions go to their liver, right? Or with a lot of fear to their kidneys. It depends where those emotions are gonna go, and they're gonna get stored there. What else? Our inability to process something is what makes that something a toxin. And I wanna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about substances like foods, inhalants, contactants, or injectants. Let's say, for example, a strawberry, right? A strawberry can be a toxin for me, but my neighbor can eat a strawberry with no issues. So whose fault is this? Is this a strawberry fault? No. I have some fear about the strawberries that I haven't healed, and this is why I cannot process it, and that is why the strawberry is a toxin for me and not for my neighbor. The same goes for the inhalants, the things we inhale. They go through our skins, contactants or injectants, same thing. But also emotions. If we cannot process an emotion, that emotion is gonna become a toxin for us. And once they become a toxin, they can trip those breakers that we talk about, and suddenly our healing intelligence doesn't have the full visibility what goes on in the body. And then we get into trouble, okay? So now let's talk about how a chronic condition is born. And I want you to pay attention to all these chronic condition cycle, because we're gonna get the whole process of how it's born and what does it take to get out of it. It all starts with limiting patterns that drive fear. That's where everything starts, okay? Where do they come from? Especially for empaths. In utero, we can feel the feelings of our mom, the feelings of our dad. We can feel unsafe sometimes because we can feel the energy, you can feel that's what's going on, and sometimes we'll feel we are not safe there. Or it could be childhood trauma. One thing that I want you to write down is the following. 75% of people with a chronic condition are empaths. That's a huge number. And you're gonna understand why, the connection now, as I go through the chronic condition cycle. It's all about the suppression, guys. We're gonna get there in a second. But we can feel those emotions from mom, from dad, and we can get into a lot of misunderstandings while we're in utero and during childhood too. If my mom or my dad slapped me when I'm 3 or 4, or spanked me, if I'm an empath, I'll feel it probably stronger than another guy who just got hit with the belt really hard. So it's not about the event, it's about how sensitive we are, right? It can leave us a bigger footprint, a bigger wound, let's call it that way, depending on our sensitivity. It's not only utero and childhood trauma or present day trauma. The trauma can also be generational. We can be carrying trauma from our ancestors. And then miasms. What is a miasm? A miasm is a vulnerability and a fear, a physical and psychological fear we acquire in this life that is not from us, that comes from our ancestors too. That we can be born with or we can acquire depending on whether we have trauma in our lives that resonates energetically with our ancestors. Example of typical miasms are the syphilis miasm, the psoriasis miasm, the gonorrhea miasm, the cancer miasm, and the tuberculosis miasm. We're almost always, especially empaths and people with chronic conditions, we're gonna have ancestors who have one of these five, and sometimes more than one. And if we have trauma events that resonate with similar trauma events that these ancestors had, we do a quantum entanglement with them. And now the body gets into confusion, a lot of physical confusion, as if we were having the syphilis or the psoriasis or the TB when we are not having it. We're resonating very strongly with our ancestors, and this is miasm. And miasms are very strong components of a chronic condition. I want you guys to write that down. It's very important to address the miasms. There's also parental and collective programming. It could not be trauma, it could just be programming. It's like, you know what? You must obey your parents, or you should never give the contrary, or you should never fight against your parents. That's parental programming. Society programming. Religious programming. I mean, I have nothing against religion. I think most religions bring messages of love, but sometimes there's messages of fear, right? This is the only way, otherwise you won't be safe. Or even my parents, like I used to be told when I was 3 or 4, like if you misbehave, God is gonna punish you. I mean, for a 3-year-old kid, that gets ingrained in the subconscious. Now you live in fear that every time you feel you've misbehaved, our big daddy is gonna punish us. That puts a lot of fear that we cannot process here because it's too much, and we go and we suppress for years. So there's parental, there's collective programming too. And then there's the final one, which is sometimes a little bit controversial, which I like to call it patterns we came to this life with, which cannot be explained with events in this life, with generationals, with ancestors, or with collective programming. Why is it controversial? Because there's 2 schools of this. Either you came with that in this life, period, to heal, or you could bring it from a past life. I do believe in past lives, but I don't judge whoever doesn't. Okay, I respect all beliefs, but there's patterns that come from somewhere else. Either you brought it to this life, if you don't believe in past lives, or you're bringing that from a past life. And sometimes they come here to be healed too. Some beliefs, contracts, vows, intentions, fears that we can heal now in this life. Okay? So what else? Then this is followed by emotional suppression. Yes, it all starts with patterns driving fear, but everything is followed by suppression. Our collective patterns and programming also say that dense emotions are bad. Not only ours, but others too. Okay? So if we're empaths, and if these emotions are bad, we become more easily overwhelmed than the neighbor. We just can't take it. And these suppressed emotions are stored in our organs, lungs, tissues until we're ready to feel and process them. That's the key. So what is next? The next concept is the concept of reverse polarity, and we touch a lot about that in our muscle testing training classes. Reverse polarity is when something is not running the way it should run energetically. It's running the other way. And fight or flight is key for survival. We have been granted with a mechanism to survive an attack such as a tiger attack. Okay? I'm going to explain why reverse polarity is important. here. When there's danger and when there's fear, there should be danger. Otherwise, ideally, we shouldn't be in fear. When there's danger, we need to have a fight or flight response so we can run away from that tiger. Okay? Our body needs some big shot of adrenaline and cortisol and adrenaline so that we are strong and we can run away from that tiger. That is called the fight or flight state. Okay? However, the fear of these stored emotions that we were talking about, these suppressed emotions, they also reverse our organs, glands, and tissues because fear provokes a reverse polarity effect, but it has a reason. This reversal in the polarity, our organs, glands, and tissues are meant to have a negative polarity. As soon as there's fear, they turn into positive polarity. Again, there's a reason. The positive polarity gives a signal to the brain so that cortisol and adrenaline is sent to those organs, glands, and tissues that are in fear state and activate the fight or flight state or the fight or flight response. That is the reason why reverse polarity is important. We want our tissues to reverse when there's danger so that the brain shoots cortisol and adrenaline and we're ready to escape from the tiger, right? If the tiger is real. However, nowadays, the tiger is someone else. The tiger could be our husband, our wife, our boss, right? Because we are reliving all past trauma. Not only that, we are not even feeling it here. The tiger is happening at the tissue level, and we are suppressing everything. So it is our tissue that is in fear that believes there's a tiger when there is no tiger because the tissue is just working on all memories that have been suppressed. And it's provoking a reversal, and the brain is sending cortisol and adrenaline so that you can run away from a tiger that is not even there. How crazy is that, right? But also how problematic is that? The fear of stored emotions makes the body feel like if it was in danger 24/7 when that is not true. And here's the other thing. Cortisol and adrenaline become toxic after 3 hours. You cannot have 24/7 cortisol and adrenaline, guys. They are meant to get us out of imminent danger, and there is no tiger. For those of you who know what a toxin is, like let's say gluten, when you eat gluten and gluten is toxic for you, you can feel the effect of the toxicity in your body and you can choose to stop eating the gluten and you say, I'm not eating that stuff anymore. But this is an internal toxin, cortisol and adrenaline. You cannot choose not to have it consciously. It's just following a process here. How do you stop it? You need to stop that cortisol and adrenaline for you to move on with your life and survive. Otherwise, you can die of toxicity. Okay? There is a way that is by design where our bodies can stop this process. And you're going to be surprised what is that in the next slide. Ta-da! It's our friends, the pathogens, guys. Contrary to conventional wisdom and everything that we have been led to believe, pathogens are not our enemies. They are there to serve a purpose. We are a soup of pathogens in our bodies. I mean, we all have, it's been demonstrated that we all have strep in our throats. It's just not active, it is dormant. We're a soup of pathogens in all our bodies, right? But they have a role. Pathogens have a negative polarity the same way our tissues have a negative polarity. But when our tissues reverse the polarity, and pathogens have a negative polarity, and then our tissue is in positive polarity because it's in fear, and there's a lot of cortisol and adrenaline being sent there, They are a perfect match for a reversed organ, gland, or tissue. So those pathogens awaken, and because of the law of magnetism or electromagnetism, they say, oh my God, that kidney is in positive polarity and I'm negative. I'm just gonna go there to that kidney. Those cranial nerves are reversed. I'm gonna go there. And those pathogens, by the law of electromagnetism, they go and they chase the tissue with reverse polarity. But in a way that's good, guys. Why? Because they neutralize. Positive and negative neutralizes polarity. And while those pathogens make their homes in those tissues, they cancel the reversal of the tissue, and this stops the cortisol and adrenaline flush. And thanks God, you don't have 24/7 cortisol and adrenaline anymore because those pathogens went in and they canceled that effect. Thumbs up. Thank you, pathogens, friends. They are in a way saving your life. Well, not everything is great yet because there's a secondary effect. Pathogens also impair our body's ability to see. Now we got ourselves into another problem. Yes, the cortisol and adrenaline flush has been stopped temporarily, but now the body cannot fully see, and we're gonna see why. Because we fear the pathogens at a conscious and an unconscious level. This is also a collective and belief that goes hundreds of years. So we're gonna talk a little bit more at the end of this presentation because this is how we're gonna close the full healing cycle. We fear the pathogens at a conscious level and also on an unconscious level. We feel they are our enemies and we believe they can hurt us. And as soon as we fear them and the body senses them, then the breakers are tripped. Remember when I say what trips the breaker? Fear. Now the pathogens are active in our tissues, and this fear generates a reaction and the breakers are tripped. So going back to this healing cycle, we are in the pathogenic resonance cycle. Our internal healing and detox system becomes impaired because the breakers just got tripped. For us to be able to flush out any pathogen and toxin and move it out of the body gently and with ease, our body needs to be fully reconnected, and the healing intelligence should be able to see exactly how many toxins are in your liver, in your cranial nerves, in your bladder, how many pathogens are there, and you will move everything without pain and gently. But this is not happening because now the breakers got tripped because the fears we have about those pathogens. So the next cycle comes, which is called the detox system impairment. Now our detox system cannot detox with effectiveness anymore, okay? There's a difficulty to see with accuracy what pathogens or toxins are resonating in our bodies and where exactly they are located because now the breakers got tripped because of the fear we have of these pathogens that just came to save our lives, to stop the cortisol and adrenaline process, okay? So the body is gonna resort to another process, but let's talk about something else. If our detox system is impaired and our ability to clear everything that is in our body is impaired, this makes us more vulnerable to external toxins and foreign pathogens. Guys, 70% of people who get bit by Borrelia carrying ticks do not get Lyme symptoms. I used to have a lot of sensitivity with EMF, but you know what? My daughter never got hit with it, or my neighbor never got hit with it. Some people get hit with the glyphosates of Roundup, some people don't. Mold. Some of my clients are couples. One is sensitive to mold, the other one is not even reversed. It's just processing the mold out. So the enemy is not the Borrelia, the EMF, the mold, or even the glyphosate. I'm not saying this is good stuff, guys, because our bodies have not been designed to move this with ease, right? However, especially the EMF and the Roundup, which are chemicals. However, if our detox system is not impaired, we should have no problem in putting any foreign pathogens to sleep. That Borrelia, we should put it to sleep. That flu, we should put it to sleep. That EMF should move with gentleness out of our bodies. That mold will breathe it and it'll go out in our urine or in our sweat. The same for the Roundup. Everything would move because our detox system would be strong, but it's not. So now we are more vulnerable. And then our body, because we cannot clear with gentleness, is going to resort to the second best way to clear this stuff out of the body, because the body still needs to clear this stuff out of the body. Otherwise, we'll just die. There's a way to keep clearing. We do clear, even though our detox system is impaired, there's a way of clearing. That way of clearing stuff out of the body is called inflammation. We still manage to flush out toxins and pathogens through inflammation if our detox system is impaired. That's the second best alternative, but it's a painful alternative, and it's a chronic alternative. And this is what we all with chronic conditions experience: inflammation at different levels, mast cell activation disorders, histamine, pain, migraines, skin rashes, POTS, etc. Everything is part of inflammation because we're trying to flush out pathogens and toxins from the body, and we're in pain, guys. Okay? But inflammation does the job. Not at 100% effectiveness as if a detox system that is healthy would do, but it will clear at least 70% of the pathogens and the toxins. It will move it away. And what happens when this inflammation takes the pathogens or part of the pathogens out of the tissue? We go into fight or flight again. And the tissue reverses in polarity again, because remember, those pathogens came to save our lives. To cancel the reverse polarity, our inflammation just flushed some of them out, and we are triggering fight or flight again because the tissue is still in fear. The emotions are still suppressed. We have not addressed that second big part of our healing, which is address these emotions that are suppressed and getting our tissue out of fear state, getting our tissue out of reversal. Guys, whenever you work with your LLMDs, with your holistic doctors, with your practitioners, they are working on this left side of the equation, and they're doing a great job. They're helping your body detox. They're giving you the right herbs, the right medication to clear your pathways to help you detox. But as you flush out things, your tissue is going to reverse again because no one took the fear out of there, right? And then you have the energy healers, the intuitive healers, the shamans, who are great also working on getting your tissue out of fear state. But we're going to talk about why is it also important to help the body detox, right? So it's a combination of both worlds at the end of the day that's needed here, okay? So now a chronic condition is born because we're in inflammation, fight or flight state, reversal again, more pathogens again. The body fears the pathogens. We resort to inflammation because our detox system is impaired, and so on and so forth. Our inability to heal from this chronic condition creates more limiting beliefs and fear state. I don't deserve to be healthy. God has abandoned me. The universe doesn't support me. God has betrayed me. I deserve to be sick, right? There's just some conclusions that our psyche just goes in because we cannot get out of this cycle, right? This causes new dense emotions, and because we've been conditioned to suppress these new emotions. Now these new emotions go into our tissues again. They reverse our tissue because they go in fight or flight state, new cortisol, new adrenaline, right? New pathogens come in to save our lives. Fear of the pathogens. Now that the breakers are tripped again, we cannot see everything. Impaired detox system, inflammation, chronic condition again, and this fight or flight pathogenic resonance detoxing permanent inflammation cycle is perpetuated. You guys got yourself a chronic condition now. All right? So how do we heal this permanently? How do we stop just managing the symptoms? How do we go into fully healing this and say, I've achieved the end game? All stages in the cycle must be addressed. I cannot stress this more. All stages in the cycle must be addressed. Number one, this is the most important one, guys, especially if you are in deep fear and despair. We should intend to heal and go for it. We should intend to heal and go for it. This will stop feeding up the cycle with more limiting beliefs, number one. And the other thing is, yes, you could think I've been programmed, I have all this fear here, but guys, doesn't matter how many patterns and limiting beliefs you have in your subconscious mind. Intentions are more powerful than any beliefs. And this is what I learned in my journey. If you intend to heal, the universe is going to send you the help and you will heal. I can tell you this. But you need to intend it with all your strengths, so much that you overcome any fear of disappointment. Why? There's some people that are in such fear state of being disappointed that they prefer not to move forward with their healing, not to go through all this cycle. I met a lot of potential clients that when I tell them, hey, let's do just a trial session, well, can I have 100% warranty? This is going to help. This is going to help me. And I'm like, well, every person is different. Let's try the first session and I can assure you some level of improvement, but we'll see. Oh my God, no, that's too expensive. I don't know what to do. And I have people that keep calling me and they keep writing me every couple of days saying, I'm sure I want to do this with you, but I'm just afraid. And they first say it's the money, but then they tell me, well, I just been with my naturopath last week who charges more. Or with my Reiki practitioner 2 weeks ago who also charged right there. They don't have any issues of investing the money in results they already know that they can, that they know. They say, okay, I know these sessions will get me there. I know the outcome. I'm going to invest the money, but for something new and unknown, oh my God, this is too expensive. I need 100% warranty. This is gonna help me. Otherwise, I will not forgive myself for having tried something else. I don't want to be disappointed again. And sometimes they get into this loop and they're just stuck and they just don't move forward with the healing at all for months until they hit rock bottom. So what I'm telling you guys, don't wait until you hit rock bottom. I did hit rock bottom to the point where I was asking Mother Mary, please help me. And I was shown. But you don't need to hit rock bottom. Don't wait for that day. If you intend it with a lot of intention and go for it and jump on the pool, you'll get out of this. I can tell you. That's the first step. The second, especially people that are bedridden with intense pain, I believe a gentle support is needed. Can they heal just through the emotional or the non-physical part? Yes, they can. But it's going to be really hard to get someone that is bedridden with despair, panic, and anxiety attack, and joint pain, and heart palpitations, and thoughts to tell them, stop suppressing your emotions, let's do the non-physical work on you. It helps, but it's always better to help them, give them this detox support. The physical support at the beginning is important for them to build trust in the process, and also to help the body feel less pain, and get some sort of breathing space to think about the possibilities for healing. So there's detox support. There's the clearing of the pathogens and the toxins from the pathways. That is important at the beginning. And this can be done with antibiotics, antifungals, supplements, herbs, homeopathy, or energy healing. There's many ways to go at it, guys. Okay? In my experience with quantum energy healing, why is it that I prefer this? Why is it that it worked for me? It will identify with accuracy the number, type, and location of the toxins and pathogens to support efficient clearing. If you do do these complex lab tests, you're gonna find hundreds of parasites, protozoa, mycoplasma, viruses. Sometimes we don't need to clear all of it. Sometimes there is a priority of pathogens that are only the ones that we need to heal today or in this short period of time to get people out of the detox system impairment, right? So that is why I like it's more laser focused. When you go antibiotics, antifungals, supplements, all these machines and everything, you're putting the bomb in your body and you're trying to fight everything that is foreign or that is perceived foreign and try to kill everything out of your body. I've seen people taking like Russian pills, like gonna bomb parasites out of your body. And what you don't know is once you address the second stage of this, your body's gonna take care of the parasites on its own. First, let's just focus on the detox system impairment, right? Just on that. And that is what I love about quantum energy healing. You don't need to chase everything. You need to chase what is priority, and the body will take care of that. The other thing that I love about quantum energy healing is you can redirect your energy resources, and you can tell the body to strengthen specific organs, glands, and tissues to support better detox. You can tell, strengthen my liver, strengthen my cranial nerves, strengthen my bladder, and my kidneys, and my gallbladder. That's what I need to go through this detox process more easily. With energy healing, you can go and put those commands in the body and clear whatever is blocking to give those commands to the body, and it will work. So that's second. And third is the big other chunk of the equation that I believe a lot of conventional, holistic, and NLP practitioners are starting to scratch the surface, but haven't gone deep enough yet. We must get our organs, glands, and tissues out of fight or flight state. So guys, if you're still, you don't need to work with me on this. If you're still working with your naturopath, with your chiropractor, even with your energy healers, like ask them, the ones who are clearing the Lyme, the ones who are clearing the candida, the allergies. Are you gonna get my organs, glands, and tissues out of fight or flight state, out of fear state? Because if they don't, once you clear the pathogens and the toxins, your tissue is gonna reverse again. And it's gonna happen like what happened to me when I stopped the antifungals. Everything came back. The other way is to take antifungals or to take clearing products for the rest of your life, and that's also an option. But you'll be maintaining, you're gonna be doing symptoms maintenance for the rest of your life. If you wanna reach an end game, it's very important for you to get your organs, glands, and tissues out of fight or flight state. And here is very important, the emotional work. Those stored, suppressed emotions, we have to get them out of there. Process them through the body and release them. There's a lot of techniques here: meditation, hypnotherapy, NLP, energy healing, neural retraining systems. All of these works to get all those suppressed emotions out of the tissue. Why do I like quantum energy healing on this? Because again, we can be laser focused. We can, with the muscle testing and with the charts, we can locate the specific suppressed emotions in the body that need to be taken out and facilitate a very efficient clearing. That's what I love about quantum healing here. Four, we might erase the patterns that gave birth to these dense emotions that were suppressed. Why? I can clear the emotions out of your organs, glands, and tissues, but next week you're gonna come with these emotions again, and because you've been conditioned to suppress them, they're gonna be suppressing the organs, glands, and tissues again, okay? There's patterns there that give birth to these emotions that get suppressed, and we must address them. This is a deeper non-physical work on patterns and beliefs. This is about trauma healing, patterning reprogramming from childhood, right? From in utero, right? The patterns and the programming from parenthood, the collective, religion, and etc. Generational miasms, right? Genetic expression deactivation. A lot of us have this gene expression, the MTHFR, that doesn't let us detox well. Well, that can be deactivated through different techniques, okay? And what are the techniques? Typically therapy, talk therapy, hypnotherapy, NLP, homeopathy. Homeopathy is great at deactivating those miasms that we talk about. Energy healing is great too. Neural retraining systems are great too. What is it that I love about quantum energy healing and that has helped my healing journey? Again, it's going to identify with accuracy in this field of the emotions that are stuck in my tissue. What are those limiting patterns that generated those dense emotions? We can muscle test and we can specifically ask, is this a past life thing, or is this something I came to this life with? Is this generational? Is this a miasm that is resonating in my body? Is this a trauma event? Is this programming? And we can find specifically what the beliefs are and what those programmings were, and we can start erasing them from our energy footprint. Also, quantum energy healing can fully deactivate miasms and gene expressions from the body. We have very advanced scans that can go in and heal the trauma in this life and the trauma of the ancestral life that generated that quantum entanglement and clear all the physical part of that the footprint too. I've seen this even more efficient than the homeopathic remedies that are also very efficient to deactivate miasms. These closes the doors completely and permanently. So I like the way with quantum energy healing, how do we deactivate miasms, and also the gene expressions from the body. We ask what in our environment, what in the energy is allowing these genes to express. We don't clear the gene, we deactivate the expressions, right? That is why I like this laser focused approach that quantum energy healing gives to deactivating those patterns. Now, guys, the next two slides. By now, you should be 85% healed, which is a lot. You should be feeling way better. But there's two things that are very important that are going to come in the next two slides to get to 100% and to get to the end game. And I'm telling you guys, 85% is not peanuts. When you say I'm 85% healed of my Lyme, when you have been bedridden, that's a lot. But in my search for a cure, I always ask, what's happening with that last 15%? And this is what I discovered, and this is what we can do with quantum energy healing too, and this is amazing. The next step is to retrain the body to feel our emotions, no matter how dense they are, and avoids the suppression. Why? Guys, even though the truth is that life is safe, life is not always fair. We're gonna have sometimes our hearts broken. We're gonna have some disappointments. So the density here in this life is here to stay. We're gonna be facing dense emotions. And we have conditioned ourselves for years, especially empaths, to stuck them in our tissues. We don't want that anymore. We must retrain the body to feel, to allow, and to not judge. And this way, we're gonna stop the suppression, which is the root of all of this, okay? This requires deeper non-physical and consciousness work. Patterns from our upbringing, from our ancestors, from the collective, and the ones we brought to this world to heal. This is not only ours, guys. Judging the emotions has hundreds of years of patterning collectively as a society. that feeling anger, feeling sadness, feeling like we want to cry, feeling despair is a no-no. It's bad. We should not feel that. That is bad. Well, guess what's bad? What's bad is not to feel. If we feel, we process. It moves out. That doesn't mean if I feel angry, I'm going to start shooting people, right? That's a whole different thing. But feeling angry is fine. It's part of our human nature. We deserve, even if the anger is not is based on a false belief, let us feel. Let yourself feel. If you suppress, you're in for a ride that is a painful ride. I'm telling you guys. What are the things that are good here? Energy healing, neural retraining systems are good. These are patterns that are very deep and they require a lot of work to get out of there. Why do I like quantum energy healing? Because we can work at the neuroplasticity level. Okay? And also at the ancestral and collective patterning level to retrain the body to stop suppressing that density, especially for empaths. We can go and find at all levels, even at the DNA level, what do I do to allow myself to feel my emotions? All right? And here comes the final one, which is very important. And let me tell you what happened to me. I felt 96% healed, but I still reacted to emotional events with some hip pain. When I argue with my parents or with the people that I love the most, or where things didn't go as expected, sometimes I would get this minor hip pain. I'll say, oh my God, I'm not 100% healed. I'm already allowing myself to feel my emotions, so on and so forth. And guys, I found out that my reaction to Candida and Klebsiella was 99% healed, but there was this 1% that even though I was doing scans in my body, I wasn't able to get it out. I was still reacting. Especially when I went into emotional fields, I was reacting to these pathogens that still live in my gut. And this is the final stage. This is the final 5% for you to complete that healing. We must heal our fear of toxins and pathogens, internal and external. Again, we must heal our fear of toxins and pathogens, external and internal. This fear that pathogens can hurt me have hundreds of years, hundreds of generations back. And I'm going to sound a little woo here, but let me explain why do we have these fears, right? It's a collective historical pattern, and it is rooted in the separation of human versus nature. Whatever has a collective consciousness of its own, like pathogens, like viruses, like bacteria, it cannot be me. It is an invader that is going through my body. That's how the psyche, that's how the subconscious thinks about this. And because it's foreign, it's not me. Because it's not me and I'm working in silos because I only want to be with me and I don't trust anything foreign, I get into fear state. It's rooted on the belief that humans are hierarchically above and outside this universal balance. There's no room to understand that the collective of pathogens are also part of us, are part of our body, and even the foreign pathogens are part of an ecosystem, of a universal energetic system that is in perfect balance and that has its purpose for our best and highest good. So we want to heal that. We want to get back to oneness, guys. If we don't fear the flu cannot hurt us. It will go and it will move away. If we don't fear the Borrelia cannot hurt us. But there's deep patterning about whatever is going on in our bodies that is foreign is not us. And once we understand that we are one in a cosmic balance, that's a game changer. And that's the last teaching I received back in December from one of my indigenous cosmovision and healing teachers. I told him, his name is Arkan. I told him, it breaks my heart, some of the clients that I have that are in deep pain because of Lyme disease, because of lupus, because of fibromyalgia. They are bedridden, they are in panic, and they are in anxiety. And I find out that they are resonating with a lot of ancestors, that they were born empaths, right? Isn't this ironic that they came with this great gift to give the world and they are suffering so much? Isn't it too much of a burden for them to carry? That's what I asked him. And he told me, Juan Carlos, it's not. And I say, what do you mean it's not a big burden? It is a big burden as far as they keep believing they are separate. As far as they keep being separate from the cosmic universal balance. Start telling your clients that they don't have to deal with the whole burden of their healing, that they are not responsible for 100% of their healing process. They are responsible to own the healing process, to reinsert them back to the balance, to not be victims, but the work is not all on them. There's something bigger than us that is meant to heal us. We cannot take the whole load on our shoulders, and especially empaths. Once they heal and they know how to manage their energy, they're going to be able to reinsert themselves back to this cosmic balance with a lot of ease and power. And you know what? The lift is going to be, the weight is going to be lift from their shoulders. Because when the neighbor heals, they heal. When the plants heal, they heal. When the animals heal, they heal. When the earth heals, they heal. When the universe heals, they heal. Now they are back into balance. Now they feel they're one. They are not separate. They are not better than. They are not hierarchically separate. And this reminded me about the Oscar speech of this guy, Joaquin. His name is Joaquin Phoenix. If I got this right, yes. Go Google that. He talks about this. He talks about how through all these years we lost our memory that we were meant to be the caretakers of this cosmic balance. Once we feel we're one with everything, we're one with the pathogens, we're one with nature, there's no foreign object, there's no foreign presence trying to hurt us, then we heal. And for me, once I got that teaching and I was in the car going back to the city of Cusco after seeing my teacher, I did an energy scan on that. I removed 100% of the blocks, generational, a lot of generational, and conditioning that was still vibrating my field that didn't make me feel one. That made me fear nature, made me fear my human brothers, that made me fear pathogens, that made me fear toxins, because we are all one. I cleared that, and the last piece of pain in the hip was gone. Consciousness and energy work to repattern these deep beliefs are very beneficial. And I use quantum energy healing, the one technique that I know, on myself that day in the car as I was going back from Pisa to Cusco. And my healing was complete. And I cried that day. So here comes the cherry. At Quantum Shift and Healing Solutions, we address each stage of this chronic condition cycle. We must address each stage. We give the body instructions to clear pathogens and toxins. Yes. We bring our detox system back online. We get you out of chaos, out of that physical chaos. But we don't stop there, because we know that if we stop there, things can come back because your tissue is still in fight or flight, is still in fear. So we clear the dense emotions and the blocking patterns that cause them. We reprogram the body to feel our emotions, no matter how dense they are, without judgment. This stops the suppression. And finally, last but not least, we help reprogram the body to understand we are not separate from other forms of being, that all is working on our best and highest good and in perfect balance and harmony. This is, guys, how do we achieve the end game? This is how a chronic condition is fully deactivated, is fully healed. The goal is to enjoy the present moment, because once we heal this, then we live in present moment. We're not in fear anymore, and we want to be in our bodies. Allowing ourselves to feel and process all emotions in the face of truth. What is that truth? We're worthy and we're deserving of it all. Because we are. We're safe. We're unconditionally loved and understood. Yes, maybe my neighbor or my ex-wife or my ex-husband or my parents never unconditionally loved me, understood, but you know what? Our big dad up there, he unconditionally loves us and understands us. So that's the truth. We are also unconditionally held and supported. And we want to enjoy this present moment, allowing ourselves to feel and process all our emotions, connected with ourselves, reconnected. Now the body can see everything. The breakers are not tripped. Connected with others and connected with nature. And this is the most important piece, with gratitude for this healing journey. If you still believe you just beat or you just defeated Lyme, or you just defeated ankylosing spondylitis, or you just defeated lupus, let me tell you the bad news. You are not healed yet. Okay? There's something else that needs to be done. This is not about claiming victory in a fight. It's not about that. This is not about defeating something. This is about the day that we say, God, this healing journey, thank you for it, because it helped me feel. It helped me be in my body. It helped me connect. And I'm an empath. Now, whatever is good, I feel it twice too. Empaths not only feel the dense twice, we feel the high vibrations twice. It helps me connect to the universal energy, because we are sensitive to energy. It helps me tune into my intuition and know what's the best for me. It helps me embrace my gifts. Thank you for this healing journey, because I just awakened the biggest gift in my life. Once you are there, you're healed. Okay? So this is basically the end of the Teleclinic. Here's my information. Quantum Shift Healing. You can write me at info@quantumshifthealing.com. This is my phone number. You can follow us at facebook.com/Quantum Shift Healing. And I'm giving a complimentary 20-minute assessment where we can talk to each other and see how we can work together. This is a process, going through the whole cycle and deactivating everything, that should take between 5 and 7 months. There's people who are going to do it in 5, people who are doing it in 7. I took 1 year and 9 months, but I learned what are the shortcuts, what are the big healing steps that I took that I could have taken earlier and avoid some of the learnings. But I'm grateful for the learnings, because this helped me help others better. And once we get into one-on-ones, full sessions, I work through Healing Solutions, who is my master practice. And we connect through there. Okay, so thank you so much. It's been amazing to share this knowledge with you, how to really achieve an end game of our chronic condition. Most of us are empaths. It's not a curse. It is not a curse. It is a gift. It is a blessing. This process is going to teach us how to use this gift and this blessing towards our happiness and towards shining our happiness to the world. If you have any questions, please just comment below this video, which is going to go in YouTube and also in Facebook. Please put all the comments. I'm going to go through each of one, and I'm going to answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much, and many blessings. Bye-bye.